Hello，大家，我叫 Jo，我今年26歲啦，我係全美國唯一嘅的士狗。My name is Joe Wu. I'm from Hong Kong and I'm 26 years old. So this is my 1996 Toyota Crown Comfort. It's a Japanese model taxi that was actually converted to look like a Hong Kong taxi. I was born in Hong Kong and most of my family is actually still there. So it's just me and my parents that are in the US. And I used to go back every single year to visit my family and, just having that connection with Hong Kong and the US just like really reminds me of, my heritage and, where I grew up. Ever since COVID happened, I didn't go at all for, the past couple of years until recently. And, during that time of the pandemic was when I bought this car, kind of to remind myself of, home. So that's the easiest way for me to convey my culture, like bringing two passions together. I had bought one in 21 from the Japanese auctions. I had to wait, a couple more months for it to ship over to the US. And I picked it up in Washington, drove it all the way down here, and it took a couple more years for me to actually wrap the whole car and convert it to how I wanted it to be. It's still not completely done, like the wrap exterior is already finished, but the interior is like still missing like some accessories and like I'm missing some details that, separated this replica from an actual Hong Kong taxi that like most people would not notice, but like, I still do, but I'm getting there eventually. First of all, the driver's seat is on the wrong side. It's on the right-hand side because Hong Kong, they drive on the left side of the road and the steering wheel is on the right. So this car is a manual. As you can see, like I have to shift it manually. So the ones in Hong Kong, they used to be manual, but they were like column shift manuals. The ones on the floor didn't exist in Hong Kong. So like if you know your details, like this isn't like exactly Hong Kong spec. So everything here is actually from a wrecked Hong Kong taxi. This is the actual fare meter that they used to use in the 2000s. This is like a receipt printer and this is like a for hire sign that pops up whenever the fare meter is not active. Most people notice that it doesn't go as fast as a normal Hong Kong fare meter. I like to tell people that, oh, I just converted it to US dollars, so it just like beeps slower, but it's not really plugged in to the speed sensor, so like it increases a lot slower than an actual fare meter would. I take it all across like the West Coast pretty much. I've been to San Francisco, like Chinatown, taken it to Fremont for like a Hong Kong culture event, and most recently I was at a school locally in SoCal for like a cultural fair, and I was boothing at the Hong Kong booth with my taxi. Every time I drive it, I'm just reminded about, my family, my history, like my culture, and just, seeing as the taxi, especially the comfort taxi, is like such an icon in Hong Kong. If you've ever watched like, 80s or 90s kung fu action films, like the background is just like filled with these things. So like, I feel like the red taxi is one of the most recognized symbols of Hong Kong, which is why I chose this to be my project. So right next to me is actually a real Hong Kong taxi. This was imported by the owner of Alice's Kitchen in Monterey Park. This is a complete parts car, but it was actually a real taxi that was used for taxi purposes in Hong Kong. For the people that have moved from Hong Kong to here and that recognize what this car is, it also reminds them and, sparks joy in people when they like walk around and see me driving, and that's what I really like to bring, happiness in the community. This thing is like ancient, like from the 90s with 70s and 80s technology. I think in the next decade or so, you're gonna start slowly seeing less and less of them. So over time, like this will just be another, like Crown Victoria taxi, like New York cabs they're so iconic. Like a snapshot in history, it'll be over with soon. As a kid, I feel like I always had an identity crisis, like whether I consider myself more like a Hong Konger or American. We moved to the US when I was around 3 years old. That was around like 2001. And I grew up in Hong Kong, but I went to elementary school through high school here, went to college here, but a part of me is still rooted back in Hong Kong. But nowadays, like I feel like I I've become, you know, American first as I've like, lived here longer. But even though like I still consider myself a Hong Konger at heart, I love being from there. I'm really proud to be from there. I love my culture and my food and my history. And just like having that culture like materialized into a physical object, I feel like is a great way to represent me and my culture as well, to like make people that are unaware more aware of it. This car is kind of like a time capsule in a way, where it shows the city of Hong Kong and its culture in like, I guess, a golden era. In the most recent times, there's been a lot of political issues in Hong Kong, and I think it's important for me to express this identity before it ultimately does go away. I think like you can't put a price on something like this. Like, I don't care how much money I spend on it. It's like, it's so sentimental to me that I really don't mind. Don't be an asshole is what I say. Like, people will judge you, people will have opinions, but you should be proud of where you're from and where your family's from. No matter if you're born here or overseas, like, I think people should be proud of where they're from and, have the right to express that. Don't be afraid to show people who you are. Just be yourself.